question. So that's a good one. Okay, here we are. Welcome back to our, because a lot of people like to watch this recording. We know it's in the middle of the day. It's our work day, but everyone else might be at work and not able to attend. So we'll get it started. Welcome back to Q&A and group mentorship, community mentorship. And the question was just asked, a really wise question by Sheila. Is like, what can we ask at these Q&A times or at these mentorship times here, community wise? And it's like anything you want, because it's extra time, right? Some of you we do, well, pretty much all of you we've done or do some sort of mentorship, custom one-on-one mentorship with you about your family or business or everything. It's pretty holistic, but that is a great question. And the reality is the answer is anything you want, as long, obviously it's open to the public, but usually your questions are probably pretty similar, if not the same as a lot of other people. And they're like, golly, I'm so glad that Sheila asked that question. I've been wondering the same thing. Or even if they don't wonder that, they may gain wisdom from the answer or gain wisdom from the question too and be like, man, I wish I would have thought of that question. That's a good one. Because it is true. Like life is all about mastering the art of questions, really. Because the better questions you ask, the more questions you ask, the better answers you get, and the more answers you get, which life is all about, looking for wisdom and answers. So, no, it's a great question.
Hmm.
Is that helpful?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
you
just
can, like I said, as long as you don't mind the question, you can keep it vague and say, you're asking a question for a friend if you want. I'm just kidding. But even hard questions, just direct message me in this chat here. That's what we talk about too. Questions maybe.
I I can't really think of any.
All right. Well, it is always good to be here and connect.
Mhm.
And so I always love seeing everyone and hearing from everyone, um, and be able to chat about things, whether it's relationship or business or success or cycles in your life or things you're facing, challenges, hard stuff you're facing. That's probably good questions. Like if you have been having struggles in life, asking questions about that, or even saying, "Hey, I've been struggling with this. What would you do in this situation?" Right? And that too, by the way, is a smart question. Is like, if I want to improve something, what question should I ask about that? Those are good questions too, because sometimes we get stuck as people and we don't know what to ask. We're so, as they say, in the forest or in the weeds that we can't see the 300-foot view or the 100-foot view away. So we get caught up in the monotony of life. So yeah, I've been saying that. What kind of question should I ask about this topic that would be beneficial? So yeah, it's good. It's really good though. So this is your opportunity for mentorship. It is a group mentorship, but still super beneficial and appropriate. I always have stuff to talk about, of course, hot topics and things we're going through and things we're processing or things we're processing with clients. So I'll make space though for questions. I'm going to look at the comments too. If somebody wants to send me a private question, you can, like I said. But otherwise, I'll give it a couple minutes and see if anybody has questions. You can pop on and show your video and your face and ask a question, or you can write it in the comments.
Okay, since nobody else is going, I'm going. Well, one of the things that I've been, I guess, struggling with, and I've talked to Chantel some, and I've come up with some things, but is just the communication with my daughter. Um, I've made a lot of changes because I grew up, I guess I guess controlled is the best way to say it. Like you didn't have a voice. It was like you do what you're told and that's that. And so my oldest daughter, she kind of grew up under that because that's all I knew. And so I've been in the process of shifting that to have a better communication, especially with Annabelle, right? And but I've also shifted from like it was constantly me like, pick this up, pick that up, do this, do that, and Chantel's helped me with a lot of that, like to where she now has her bedroom that she can do whatever she wants to in, although it takes a lot out of me to let her do that. Just saying. But I'm still struggling with what does it, because I didn't grow up in a home where there was a mom and a dad and there was structure. I was in 10 different houses, a month. Um, but like, how do I create something that I don't see? Does that make sense? Like so we get up in the morning. I mean, yeah, she, gets ready for school and stuff, but like I guess my question is like what do I need to change? What do I need to do differently in order to have more peace in our home? To where there's no, her telling me I'm mean when I ask her to do something, um, and actually getting her to do it without it becoming a. I mean, that's pretty much it. Because she's just like, you're being mean. You're not being nice, and it's like, I'm just trying to get you to do what I need you to do, and I'm trying to be nice, but it's like I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that is something I'm struggling with.
Gotcha. Yeah. Kids. Good question. All right. I like it. Thank you. So I like to tie it back always, if possible, into even the three C's of intimacy, the three C's of connection, right? Do you remember what those are?
No, confidence.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
confidence,
Yeah.
connection, and communication.
No. Close.
No,
It's the three
confidence,
C's of
connection,
connection: confidence, communication, and commitment.
commitment. Okay.
And so, everybody on this call right now, I want to make sure that somewhere along the way, you either memorize that or write it somewhere, put it on your fridge, put it on your phone as a reminder that these three things will truly, truly bring connection. The three C's, that's why it's three C's of connection, but not just any connection, not just a surface, how you doing, how's the weather kind of connection. We're talking about deeper, more meaningful connections. It takes confidence for sure, and it takes communication for sure, and it takes commitment for sure. All three. Now, some things you can be confident and, oh, everybody likes me, and oh, just you don't ask any questions, you don't communicate well, you're not committed to the person. And it's obvious because you just are a confident person. Da da da, da da da, and that's it. Well, that's not gonna, you know, bring any intimacy or deeper, more meaningful connections. It'll actually bowl someone over, right? It's my way or the highway. Just confident person. You got to do it this way. This is the right way. Passionate person, right? And so that's why all three is necessary. And I really appreciate the question, Sheila, because I think a lot of people need this in their life. We all do. Reminders of what it takes to have a deeper, more meaningful relationship. So again, there's, a lot of times we want to, and I do it as well. So this is everyone, this is life. We want to treat symptoms. We're seeing the symptoms, we're seeing the frustration, we're seeing the acting out, and it's important for us to remember in your beautiful example of this, Sheila, even with the things you've been through medically, you've had a ton of symptoms in your life, right? And we know, you teach it, you talk about this, you're a great expert in this because you've been through it and you've helped others through it. It's just the symptoms, there's something deeper going on. There's a core, there's more to it. This didn't just happen overnight, and also it's you can teach. I love it. Mindset, how mindset affects it, and so again, I try to explain things to give a big holistic picture, but also to make it understandable for all of us. So sometimes I realize it. I don't want people to get lost in my answers, and I am hopeful that it's beneficial. But the reality is a symptom of having challenges with your daughter, teenage daughter that is she a teenager yet? Is she 12, 11, 12, 10, 9? Okay. 9, but going on 15 because she's an only child at home. Yeah. Going on 20 probably. So, and girls do mature faster. And it wouldn't even matter if it was a 5-year-old, to be honest. It's really about confidence, communication, commitment. Because what do we need that needs to improve is the connection. The 3 C's of connection is what we need to improve connection, to go and have deeper, more meaningful connections. We have to be more confident. We have to communicate better, and we have to be more committed. But those 3 C's of connection, again, everyone should write these down and memorize them because it will help you. And that's the first thing I thought of when you were telling me is like, okay, how's their connection? What you're describing is a symptom where you want to improve connection. You haven't had the best, obviously you didn't have that growing up. We know that. You expressed it. You've told us, man, quite a story. And so you didn't have that example. Obviously, you just said you were running around 15 different homes as you were a kid, and everybody helped raise you. Like you didn't have any commitment, definitely didn't have confidence in the example, and not good communication at all, right? Just the example of communication, the example of death and destruction and yelling, screaming, and drunkenness, all the things you went through, and the pain and suffering that you went through as a child and abuse and thing. It's not easy. So then that is what you're pulling from when you've been working on this, and you've worked on yourself. So you've come so far, way farther. There's no comparison to what you went through and what you're creating now, an amazing environment. But since you asked, there's always an opportunity for growth in all of us, right? And everyone on this call knows it as well, that they all could have growth as well in their connections, in their relationships. And that growth comes from the 3 C's of connection. So how can I improve my confidence? How can I improve her confidence in who I am? And another word for confidence, by the way, is trust. So, right? Because if I trust you, because you're confident in who you are. If they trust themselves, right, then they're confident in who they are, their identity. So we got identity things we can work on to improve confidence. Okay, we've got the communication we can work on. But if I don't have the confidence, probably won't communicate very well. I'll communicate as a victim and again, because of what you've been through, there's potential for that where you react instead of being proactive. We all have that potential. And so being proactive is more confident too. Communication, in your communication, you're going to communicate well and be proactive in your communication. And there's going to be some things that you'll do better because you're more confident, you'll communicate better. And then guess what? Commitment. That's always essential too. It's the long term. It's the repetition. It's the mom's not doing this week but doing something different next week. It's the commitment means consistency. Consistency. She can count on mom's going to be up at this time, mom's going to do this at this time, and their structure, that's a form of commitment. And so when we have that structure, we have that consistency, then it will become real to them. And you've been doing a whole lot of amazing work on yourself, Sheila. So it is not easy, but you're doing it. And so congratulations on that. And same thing with Annabelle, bringing her to a retreat that we had, which, by the way, we're changing it to a workshop. Because it is more of a workshop and more of a seminar type feel when you come that has, anyways. But you brought her to our ranch, and we got some time with her. She's amazing. And you're amazing in all the ways that you do things and the ways that you love so well. And so your commitment has shown forth, and it will as time goes on. That's the thing, people, just knowing that the things you're doing are working. It's just stick to it. That's going to be part of it too, because that creates structure and belief in her in the long run, right? The very thing that you didn't have. So it's going to be challenging because it's not a muscle you have from your childhood. Like, well, mom and dad did this, and this all the time, and it was good. You don't have that. You don't even have consistency of having a parent. You're, like you said, 15 different homes. So it's real. So again, what you're pulling from is you're having to pull from people that have the understanding of this. People have a different experience or have created different experiences, and you're doing a great job. So I would say that if you haven't if you haven't started doing Epic 30 with her a lot consistently, or is those things is it's interesting, when we do these things with our kids and they're uncomfortable, it's because they're not confident in it or in themselves. That's what I mean. A lot of these answers are like goes back to that. So they're not going to even communicate what gratitudes and worthies, right? Because we do gratitudes and worthies. And we dealt with that too as well when we first started this. Now it would be 15 years ago, 14 years ago. It was like our kids didn't know what to say. What do I say? And it's like, yeah, it's understandable. They've never done it before. And it's the same with even adults that we do this with. They're like, well, what do I do? How do I say it? What do I say? And so walking your Annabelle through it, and I'm saying this because I know Sheila's done it, and Annabelle did some here when she was with us here, but I'm saying it for the sake of everyone listening to the recording or anyone that is watching this later or even now, that when you're working with someone, don't expect them to know how to do Epic 30 at all. Don't expect them to know what to say. Don't expect them to know how to be grateful. Don't expect them to know to say you're worthy, and like, even if you have the paper and they're reading it off the paper, like, don't expect them to do it. Walk them through it, because this is like literally like brand new. It's like I was sharing with a person today, and I was talking about how it's like you being put in front of a computer for the very first time, never ever seen a computer in your life, and being told, "Hey, I want you to go ahead and write code on that computer and make it do something." And they're like, "What the heck is that?" Like they would just be like, "I have no clue. I don't even know where to start. I've never even seen a computer before." It's that way with Epic 30, y'all. I don't I don't think I've ever done that with anybody and introduced it to anybody that they're like, "Oh yeah, I do that every day. It's the same thing we do." No, never. It's like it's so foreign, but yet so powerful, and it doesn't even take that much time. And so it's a matter of, okay, I'm gonna write down, and you do it with them. Write down your gratitudes for that person, what some of you're grateful for, their strengths, their looks, their intelligence, their heart, their love, their kindness. By the way, I will tell you some of the things if you see something in someone that is lacking, okay, instead of telling them, "I'm grateful when you don't yell at me," or I'm grateful when you don't call me stupid, or I'm grateful when with kids, we're like, "I'm grateful when you don't hit me," like kids that hit each other. It's like, no, 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 no. You say what you want them to do. We call forth. That's what even God does. He declares and calls forth the greatness and goodness in all of us. And that's what we're doing in this process. So I'm grateful for the love and kindness that you show towards me. I'm grateful for the connection that we have. I'm grateful for the ways that you accept my love and affection, even if they don't. Do you follow me? That's why you say it, because you're calling it forth. Maybe they did it once. Maybe they're not don't have a very good attitude, but you want to call that good attitude forth. I'm grateful for when you have a kind, considerate heart and attitude. And then the worthies. You are worthy of your dreams and goals. But do you know what their dreams and goals are? Because that's a really powerful connection. So, like, you're worthy of having a horse if that's what they have as a dream. You're worthy of riding horses, or you're worthy of, if it's a friend that has some kind of goal or target, like Hazel, for instance, she's like, I want to jump out of an airplane someday. I want to go skydiving. You're worthy of going skydiving. And it might be in a specific activity, or maybe it's for our son, it was for years playing professional rugby. You're worthy of playing professional rugby. Guess what? He's played professional rugby and he still is a professional rugby player. He gets paid to play. So it's like amazing how many years we said it before it actually happened. You're worthy of being married. You're worthy of having an incredible husband, incredible wife, like maybe for your single friends or to yourself. See, again, we're calling forth those things. And why am I even bringing this up when it has to do with, well, when I ask her to do something, I don't make her bed or clean up her room, tidy up her room, that, she tells me I'm mean. Well, yeah, okay. That's been her experience. That's been her past experiences with you. You can admit that, right? We all can. I remember when I shifted from, I used to be a yeller for years. Now, Chantel and Hazel and Mateo didn't experience that much of it, maybe in the very beginning, but my previous wife and I, boy, we could have some big screaming matches and slamming doors. And yeah, it was not pretty. Okay. So those kids saw that ugly side of me. And again, it's interesting because my point in saying this is that that was an experience they had with me. So I would have to, that's where the commitment comes in. I have to be confident that I'm doing something different. And I have to communicate differently. The how is part of it. And then I have to be committed to it for the long term. But instead of trying to fix what I've done wrong, I have to do something proactive. That's what I'm getting at. That's where the Epic 30 comes in. That I'm doing it and making me better, but I'm also speaking it over my kids or my wife or my friends, relationships. And so I'm exercising that muscle of speaking well of people. And then I have better words when I am faced with conflict or negativity. We stop, we make eye contact. And this is what's interesting, like several times we've done this where our kids maybe were bickering in the back, or there was just some negative energy, or maybe we were traveling, Chantel and I and Mateo and Hazel, when they were younger, we would travel and be in a hotel, and there's things that start going, and it's like, whoa, it's all stop. And instead of like, it's time out, you're in trouble. Or hey, nope, guess what we did? GWs, baby, verbal GWs. And it's instead of trying to fix the problem, we would shift the environment, shift the atmosphere. I'm telling you, it's super powerful. I remember doing that in a vehicle one time, pulling over, and the old me would have pulled over and pulled my belt off and whipped some kids, right? I'm serious. I did that. I was that guy, you know? And like, hey, I'll whip some sense into y'all. And really, it's interesting. Like now, do you want to know my belief is about spanking? Only if one pain prevents another. You follow me? Like if they're going to cause harm or pain to themselves by the thing that they're doing, that's the only time. And I would do it now because you want to shock them because they're going to kill themselves or hurt themselves or into a street and get hurt, or you know what I mean? Like we're preventing them from hurting themselves and then potentially, and even that, it's as a last resort. There's so many other ways to do things now, and that is more beneficial and productive of them having self-control. I know that's a little squirrel. But the point is like I have a whole different look at it now because we've done so much of this side of it, where it's like we pull over instead of me whipping out my belt and yelling at the kids, like, all right, we're gonna do GWs. I'm gonna start it. And see, even as a parent, being the example, I'm grateful for you, Mateo. I'm grateful for your heart and your kindness. I'm grateful when you love and honor your sister, and you're worthy of her not touching you. You're worthy. And notice I said not touching you. I should say you're worthy of your sister honoring you because that's what you want to call for. You're worthy of her honoring your space and honoring you as a young man, and you're worthy of love and goodness and kindness. And Hazel, I'm grateful for your fun and compassion and your adventurous spirit. You're worthy of obedience and you're worthy of honoring your brother. and you're worthy of following directions. And then I would say, okay, now it's your turn, Mateo. Since you're the one so upset about your sister touching you, you started. And then I'd make Hazel do it back. And Mama would do it if she was in the car. It's crazy. But here's the difference. It takes time, y'all. You're just like, oh my gosh, really? I got to do all that? Look, I'm not saying it's easy. And yeah, it takes time. I'm here to tell you it works. It works so much better because there's a longer you're shifting the environment and the negative attitude. Now, if it was to persist and like let's say Hazel kept irritating Mateo even after that, then it's like, look, now you've failed to have self-control and self-discipline. So now I don't have any choice but to give you daddy discipline. I hope you understand that. But even that, you make clear the consequences if they choose not to stop, right? You give them an opportunity, you handle it in an honoring way, you shift the atmosphere where it's not this conflict and yelling and screaming and back and forth at each other, right? Change it up and bring forth life and love. I know it takes longer. Believe me, we've done it for a lot of years. And there are times we've gone on walks when one of our kids wouldn't talk. Because again, we're changing their state, putting them in motion because they're frozen, they're stuck and won't talk. So if you walk, they'll loosen up and they talk. It always works. But guess what? That's a lot of work, right? It's like, man, I ain't got time for that. You don't. How important are your kids? How important are their future and their how important are your grandchildren? How important are your great grandchildren? We're talking legacy here. We're talking long term here. This affects more than just you. We forget about that in a moment. I forget about that in a moment. So again, that's a lot of information for one little question. But I hope it's helpful to everyone on many levels of how powerful confidence, communication, commitment. It takes a lot of confidence to say, hey, let's go for a walk. Get up, let's go. Instead of like beating their butt because they won't talk to you and they won't answer you. And say, come on. And then you go for a walk. Let's go, let's go. And a lot of times too, it's motivation and inspiration and rewards for when they do obey and don't question you. First time obedience. You can even say that. I'm grateful for first time obedience, right? You can call that forth. Those things are important to tell them and be specific about what you're looking for. Come on, Annabelle. I believe in you. First time obedience. And when you do, you get to have reward. A lot of times, Chantel and I did this too as well. Like, hey, there's consequences. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to argue with you. Let me have your phone or whatever it is that they cherish. And there's some kind of restriction. And then when you have first time obedience, when you honor me and speak life with your tone and the way you speak, then you can have your phone back. And it's interesting because what I love doing is rewarding right away because they stop, they think about how they're answering and acting, and they respond differently. We need to reward them right away because, again, it's like, thank you. Good job. Here you go. Here's your phone back, or good job. Here's your book back, or good job. Here's your game back, or computer, or whatever it may be, and so because it creates that, okay, I get rewarded when I do well instead of I get disciplined when I do wrong. Because literally, this is where it all comes from. My current understanding is it talks about it in the Bible. It says, perfect love casts out all fear. And guess what that fear is? It's literally right there. The definition of fear is fear of punishment. How do we shift that? Because that's what God said perfect love is. Now, again, it's not about shame or guilt if we're not there yet, that we still use fear to get our kids to do stuff. You're going to get spanked if you don't do this. You're going to get this consequence if you don't do this. But perfect love casts all fear of punishment. So then what does perfect love look like? That's our goal. Then it's like, okay, perfect love would look like I'm going to encourage, I'm going to inspire, I don't get upset. I'm a great example of what love looks like. And then when they choose to raise their voice at me, they choose to do this, and they lose privileges. And I explain to them, I would like to have first time obedience, and I'd love for you to speak I love it when you speak in an honoring tone to me. And when you do, you can have your phone back or you can have this back or whatever it is that they're losing a privilege of or use of. Then when they do it, they stop and pause. Okay, mom, I'll do it. I'll do it. Okay, go ahead. It's fine. And you train them. You train them. And that's really what it comes down to. That's why it also takes commitment. It takes confidence in us doing it, knowing how to do it. And how does that happen? Epic 30, we're practicing every day with ourselves and others and our kids. And then it takes good communication. How does that happen? Oh, well, I've reprogrammed my brain. How? Epic 30 every day, every day. I'm practiced up now. And then commitment, doing it. And then when I make a mistake and I don't do it well, I'm willing to say, hey, all right, please forgive me, Hazel, for raising my voice. They have heard me and for making you afraid. I want to have love that doesn't bring fear of punishment to you. I want you to know that I love you and you would do it because you love me and I love you as a response to the reward of love. That's what I hope for. So I'm willing to even apologize at times when I do provoke fear. So again, the basics is like the fact that you're doing Epic 30 and doing it with Annabelle. Keep doing it. It's going to get better over time, over time, over time. I hope that's helpful.
It was helpful, very helpful. So my question is, how do I encourage her to want to do the Epic 30? We've talked about it. She's just, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Because again, it's a confidence issue in who she is and knowing what to do. Say, we'll sit down. We're going to do it. I'll help you. Put my name there. Put God there. What are you
okay.
grateful for, God? Give me one or two things. Now write it down. You literally have to walk them through it step by step and have them write down two things that she's grateful for God. He's so good to us, right? And give her an example. Isn't he just so loving? Isn't he just such a good daddy, a good father? And have her write it, good father, and then say, what is he worthy of? Let's write those down. He's worthy of your obedience and your kindness. Is he worthy of your commitment and your heart? What's he worthy of? She talks about God, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
there you go. And so two things, even one thing is better than nothing. And then say, now put your name down there, Annabelle. Yeah, I don't want to write. I don't know. Because again, it's all about like lack of confidence in who she is, identity. So we're rolling out a new certification program. Super excited, pumped up to tell everyone. It's going to be called certification number one is called Epic Identity. We want everyone, whether they're married or single, to get this certification. And it's in this process of Epic 30 that it will come. It's in the process of knowing the four faces that it will come. We're going to be, anyone that's working with us by right now is going to have access to our content, Connection DNA. And also, it's going to come from working on MVP. What do you want your mission to be? And Annabelle is super bright, super smart. So you can work on MVP with her. It's just like schoolwork. What do teachers have to do? They have to be patient, walk them through the schoolwork and the worksheets. Same. Do the workbook and do the worksheets from our retreat with her. And have her, just one step at a time. Now, what about mom? Put my name down there, put mom there. What's two things you're grateful for? I'm grateful when you're nice. Okay, write that. When she's nice. I'm grateful when you buy me candy. Okay, write it down. And then what am I worthy of? What do you know about me, Annabelle? Well, you're worthy of, you know, no inflammation. Okay, or whatever she's experienced and loves you enough to know that you want or desire and help her. Give her a couple things and then just have her read it. Now say it out loud. Now we get to declare it. Just like in Genesis, Annabelle, like, Jesus spoke and brought in creation. We're going to speak these good things to each other and declare them over each other. I'm telling you, it's going to take a while in the first few times when you do it. And then now it's like Hazel's the expert at this. Like she's been doing it so long, she can do it in like seconds now. Like, hey, can you do your Epic 30? She's like, here you go, Dad. She sends me the verse. She's like, here you go, my GWs. And she does it. I got to go to the bathroom. Can I do them real quick? And we're like, yeah, go ahead. And she does. And it's like her way of life now. So then she faces stuff. And yeah, she still has issues and challenges. She still gets a bad attitude, but guess what? She knows where to plug into. The other day, we were out of town a few months ago, and she was like, I was facing this and this, and I journaled and I asked Papa God, and I got a letter from Papa. Did two of them. She's like, I'm still frustrated. So I mean, she's human, but she knew to do it. Like we didn't tell her to. She just did it, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is awesome, and I love that. I love that instead of turning to like coping mechanisms that will bring harm, right? So that's where the commitment comes in. The three C's of connection. Confidence. Got to have confidence to be able to do it and help her with it. You got to be confident in it to be able to help. That's why we start, by the way, with Epic Identity, is with me learning how to do it myself, filling out those worksheets that we do at the retreat, at the workshops, the worksheets that we do at the workshops, the weekend Epic workshops, and filling those out with her, even like just like schoolwork. It's like we're programming them and taking time with them to help them have a better way of processing things in life. You didn't have anything even close to that. So you're doing amazing. So any work that you do, little by little by little, that's where the commitment comes into. To communicate it and keep communicating it, doing it to her, have her do it back, show her, and then do it with her, have her write it down, and then have her just read it, and then it'll get easier and it'll get easier and it'll get easier. I mean, literally, I promise you, she doesn't want to do it. And I noticed it when she was with us here because she's never done it before. It's super uncomfortable when someone does it. Adults do that same thing. I've had full grown ass adults be like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to do it? It's okay. I'll help you through it.
Yeah.
And they'll like put their head down, and then we do it to them as an example. And literally they'll start crying, a full grown adults. Like, no one's ever said that about me or said those kind of things. And we're like, we understand, but that's what the Bible says to do. And we're just putting it into practical application here. And then like, wow, this is awesome. So
Thank you. It was very, very helpful. And it actually, as you were talking, I was like, my oldest daughter and her husband are coming over tonight. So I was like, you know what? I think all four of us are going to do it.
this is so cool. I'm telling
So,
you. I telling you, girl, that is right on. Awesome. Keep me posted on that because
okay.
we're gonna, yeah, we've got a lot of,
Okay.
yeah. Believe me, I'm the same. I'm here to tell you, we created this stuff, and I have the access to the workbook, and I do give them away. I'll print a bunch out and give them away once in a while, but I realize I'm not doing that enough even. Like I should be confident enough to say, like, look, this works. I have thousands of people that have done it, thousands now, thousands. That's not an exaggeration. And it works. So many people have been blessed by this. Why don't you try it? It's such a practical thing to connect with God. So I'm with you. And again, we want to create it. We're not confident enough to be like, everybody comes to our house here. But we do it. We have with, if anybody's been around us long enough, we do it with them at some point or another because it is very awesome and effective. So any other follow-up stuff?
I have a question, Carlos.
Hey,
Hey,
good
um,
to see your name.
yeah,
Bless you.
uh,
Thanks for being here.
yeah, that was really, really good. I was wondering, so I've heard the gist of for a young child, like with the whole thing of spanking, when they do something wrong, like it's actually good to spank them because it'll clear their conscience. Like, where is that coming from?
Yeah, I mean, that's some psychologist that what I think yeah, I'm not I think it's good intentions, right? It's I would say that they're probably tapping into reaping and sowing, that
Hmm.
it's natural for a human when they've done wrong to want to have some sort of consequence, because of the guilt of what they've done. Are you following me? That I think,
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, does a child actually like are they taught to believe that? Do they believe that on their own, or is there another way that's more like um uh
Well, I wouldn't say that I disagree. The
Uh-huh.
difference is, I will tell you, timeout, I believe, is way, way more effective than spankings, but it's a lot more work for us as parents.
Mm,
And here's why I believe it's way more effective. It doesn't matter how old they are. Literally, I believe this is super effective. As a matter of fact, we used to do it based on their age. We'd do minutes. So if they're 6 or 7, then they sit in the chair for 6 or 7 minutes. And we'd put a timer on. And here's why that's super. So, like, if they've done something wrong, I agree. They have this guilt of, so there's always intrinsically, we have this understanding that, oh, there's a consequence. It's like God is in us. So we know that as a creation of his that there are consequences, there are laws. Like subconscious, I think everyone knows that. Even young children, like, when they've done something wrong, they'll what they're like expecting, right? So then when we put them there, so then when we create the consequence, we're you're right, we're releasing the guilt and things for that. But timeout gives them an opportunity to think about that and to have self-discipline. Because if I have to sit in a chair and I can't do anything, I can't draw, I can't have fun, I can't play, I just have to sit there. And I might be thinking how stupid this is and right? I might be. But the bottom line is I know there's a consequence for what I did. And that's real life. And so, and the other part of it is too, is just that whole process is, I believe, super powerful because we face that as adults. It's real. Like if I have I'm gonna have to go to jail if I do something, right? Potentially. How hard, how harsh that thing is. So it's like almost like a mini. But the one thing I believe in too, and here's my other part of this, is I don't believe in disconnection. Like go put your nose in the corner. I I used to do that, y'all. But I don't believe in it anymore. Again, because of love and connection and disconnecting. And even when what is death and destruction? What is hell? Separation from God. Like none of us have actually experienced that. Think about it. It's really interesting. So why do we do that to our kids? Why do we think that they need to go to their room or put their nose in their corner and separate them from us? Well, probably potentially as a father that used to do that, that was easy. Just go to your room. I'll tell you when you can come out. It's like, you know, but there's actually not much self-discipline on the kids' part for that either. They go in there and then they draw, or they go in there and they tear stuff up because they're upset, or they go and potentially, who knows, they're just expressing anger or whatever in their room, because they're frustrated. Versus if I have to sit in that chair and not do anything, I'm having to practice self-discipline. By the way, there will be kids when you start this that will get up and keep getting up. You just keep putting them back, 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 keep putting them back. And I'm telling you, there was literally a night that Chantel did this with Hazel, and it was like 20 something times. But what it did was it was so interesting, like, because if it was me and I, I would have swatted her butt about the third or fourth time. And again, I'm not saying that is that either one is right or wrong. I am just saying that the what it showed Hazel eventually is that Mama is going to win, and Mama is loving you by getting you to have self-discipline and obey. And you don't keep saying the same thing over and over either. There's a bunch of psychology to it, but I say all that. Sorry, it's a lot. I'm like off the Chantel says, like, you're like a fire hydrant of information all the time, and some of it's useless. I'm like, yeah, I know. She's right. And I'm learning to talk less, by the way, because I'm like, I need to make space for people. People are good and so awesome, and they have such wisdom. So I know how would you handle it? Based on what I said, I want to ask back now, what are your thoughts on handling discipline or handling situations with kids? What's your current understanding?
I really liked what you shared about like staying connected with. There's still something in the back of my mind that is telling me because of previous beliefs that um there's still a need like to spank. But what I heard when you with what you shared about Chantel's consistency with Hazel is she was committed. Like she showed confidence in what she applied and she was committed to teach Hazel. Like she was committed until Hazel learns.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she communicated with Hazel what she's doing. So it was like those are the three C's, like she was practicing all of that. So I think for me it's uh just chipping away at those old beliefs. Like just because I was taught that doesn't mean that it's the best way.
Yeah. And
And
again, I think the fear verse really gets me all the time.
mm-hmm.
What's the child's experience through that?
Mm, yeah.
I'm not saying I have it even mastered or figured out, but I at least work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I do. I've had my son, Mateo, I've had him when he used to, do things, and I would talk to him about it. I'd say, do you feel loved right now? And if he said, no, really, I feel like you're talking down to me. I'm like,
Mm,
okay, let's work on this then. I love you, son. I want to lift you up. I want you to feel blessed through this process. I want to give you guidance and wisdom, not talk down to you like you're some stupid kid.
I think also when it becomes about a specific act instead of about the connection and the relationship, then like it's not about okay, what is the need here? Or because if parents are taught, oh, spanking is the way, and then if they always just resort to spanking and miss the child's heart in the process, where maybe a timeout would be better.
Well, again, and the reason why I'm such a big proponent of it is because it creates a self-discipline. That's part of the results and the fruit of that timeout.
Yeah.
And then it always starts over. I mean, if they get out of their chair, it's like little kids know too. 1, 2-year-olds, 2-year-olds, especially, like it's interesting. You tell them, they understand. You set them there, put the timer on 2 minutes, and they get up and you put them back. I told you. This is the last time I'm going to tell you, which there is some psychology to that too. You don't keep telling them because then that rewards them when you talk to them. So even that, after the first time you tell them, I'm not going to tell you again, but you're going to stay here for 2 minutes and I'll restart it every time you get out. They know. And then you just keep doing it. You don't say a word now. Because again, even your words and your can create the you just very stoically do it. You're creating the boundary. I asked you to do this. Now you have self-control and self-discipline. And then you just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And it's interesting. They'll cry. And you don't say a word because you already told them. You don't need to tell them. First time obedience. And they didn't obey. And now you're, you know, having them have a consequence. And it's really fascinating because eventually they'll learn and they'll stop. They'll know that, okay, this is the consequence. But it does, the difference is it takes commitment on our part. And we live in such a fast-paced world that people don't want to make time and take time for all that. Let me just spank them and get it over with. Because what you're doing with the spanking is you're creating pain that redirects their brain and changes their state. Like scientifically, psychologically, that's what you're doing. The pain on the butt shocks them and it changes them, their state, to where they'll do something different now. So again, that's why I it's in the Bible, so I know it's not wrong. It's the how and the when. Like again, if they're going to bring harm, I'll give you an example. I Hazel and I were out and about, and we were driving and having a conversation, and she wouldn't talk, and I was like, okay, and I pulled over and I said, I'd like you to take a walk and change your state a little bit, and come back and we'll have an honoring conversation. Well, she gets out of the car and she was fine at first, and I see her walk a little bit, and then she just starts throwing the biggest fit. Now she was younger. I mean, like we're talking almost like a 2-year-old tantrum where she lays herself on the ground. It was that close. She's squatting down. She's like, and she's throwing this big fit, and I just get out, and I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work. And I take her, and give her a couple of swats, 3 swats, and she cries and she changes her state now because again, at that point, it was like she's choosing to not have self-discipline. She's choosing and potentially to bring harm to herself because she's now throwing such a fit. And it's time. It's time. Like this is what's left, and it changed. She changed her state. She gave me a hug, Daddy. I'm sorry. And I said, I love you, baby. I love you. And then we got in the car and we had a great conversation. Like, and she was younger. I mean, it wasn't like she was a teenager or anything like that. But it's like it does. It's beneficial. But again, I've had a conversation with my kids where I say, "Can you go wash your face and go shift some things? Go to the restroom real quick, get a drink of water, and then we'll try this again." Like I'm getting them to learn how to change their state. Number one. Number two is helping them to have self-discipline or self-control, which is, by the way, this in our content connection DNA, we talk about this. Master your emotions. See, people don't realize that the definition of self-control and self-discipline is actually rooted in mastering your emotions. And by the way, in order to master our emotions, the first step to mastering your emotions is to actually master and control your. It's amazing. Because when we're out of control and our emotions are out of control, we're breathing weird. Or we're like, we're stressing out, right? It's real. So amazing. And it's in the Bible, by the way. That's crazy cool. So, anyways, just some side notes and some nuggets. Any follow-up stuff? I know.
That's really helpful. Thank you for explaining that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Very welcome. All right. Cool. Well, we're at that time now. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. So we got 3 minutes here, and I hope this is beneficial to everyone. And I'm glad everyone showed up. Shoot me those questions anytime. And Phyllis, if you have a comment or question, go ahead.
Not today.
Okay. I thought I saw your hand raised.
No, there is a question, but it's too long for this time.
All right.
I'll send you a question. I'll send
Okay.
it to you.
Awesome. 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 Yeah, Phyllis has had much experience working with children, being a teacher for how many years?
28.
28 years.
Well, 31 when you count student teaching and working in childcare for 2 years. I got my master's.
There you go.
So 30.
Awesome. So what are your thoughts on all this? I would consider you an expert at working with kids since you work that long, 10 years or more.
I agree with you. We actually were, well, first of all, my own children, they did get spanked, not a lot. And Olivia will tell you she will not spank her kids if she ever has any. She doesn't agree with it at all. And think about it. This is this big person, like they can hit me because they're bigger.
Right.
But I like that the last resort. I get that. I don't think our kids were spanked often. Probably should have been in timeout a little more often than they were. But when I first started teaching in this county, we were able to spank.
Interesting.
Use a paddle.
Yeah.
The first time, I think it was the first time I spanked a kindergartner, and he cried so hard, and it just killed me. I was like, I want to do it again. So the next time, I think it was a third grader, and I barely hit him, and the teachers laughed. So the third time was actually in the principal's office. He said, "You want to spank or do you want me to do it?" "You can do it." I was like, "I'm not doing it." And now it's not allowed anymore.
Right.
Oh, but it's also gone almost too far the other way.
Right. Right.
So I think it does depend on the situation, but yes, I think spanking should always be a last resort.
Yeah.
Because it is. It's like usually in the heat of the moment, and you think about it later, you usually regret it. So.
Yep. Yep. It definitely takes self-control for sure to not react in those moments.
Self-control was yesterday's week 7,
Oh,
session
nice.
2 lesson.
Nice.
Wasn't the breathing ones? I think there's another one
Yeah.
that talks about self-control too.
Yeah.
They didn't
Nice.
talk about the breathing on this one. I just have to go back and look at the action items. I haven't done that yet.
Awesome. Yeah, there is it definitely because I talk about it with the martial arts instructor and how he taught me that and how it's all tied together. It's really cool. So, but yeah, thank you for sharing, Phyllis. It is cool to hear from a teacher that worked with kids for 30 years and confirming what we're talking about here. And but you're again, like you said, it does take more work, but it's so worth it. So worth it. Awesome. All right. Well, God bless you guys. I'm glad it was helpful and glad you were all here. I'll post the recording in the community announcements. And so if you're watching this recording later, we'd love to hear your comments, your questions. I know often people don't, but I really, really, really appreciate it when people make comments or say how helpful it was, or hey man, I used this or that and it worked, or how it went for you, or if you have follow-up questions like, hey, that I really want to use this with my kids, or I really want to do this or that, or I didn't quite understand it, or Epic 30 has been a challenge for us too. How can we improve? We'd be glad to answer those questions. And by the way, you won't be alone in that. A lot of people have those questions. So ask them, and then we'll keep growing and developing as a community and keep getting better. That's what I love. Getting better than my last best. Every day I try to improve a little bit, something 1%, right? 1% every day. After 100 days, that's 100%. So love you guys. Bless you. Please reach out. Let us know. Okay. Have a great day. Thanks for being here, Phyllis, Ina, Lamar, Sheila. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.